Hey guys, James with Stergis Windows Doors here, and today I'm really excited. We got a big one for you. We're going to be dissecting everything there is to know about a sliding patio vinyl door. There's kind of a lot to go through, so we're going to break this down into about 4 chapters. The first is going to be, what is it? What is a patio door and what are its components? Second is going to be installing a handle set and a keeper. Third, we're going to talk about how to adjust a patio door that's off square. Maybe it's not closing correctly. And then finally, we're going to touch on how to install a screen door and how to adjust its rollers. So we got a lot to go through. I'm really excited to do this one. We're hoping that this video conquers a lot of questions that we hear about maintenance on these and common issues that we see. So we're going to see a little bit behind the scenes too on the kind of hardware that we use on these. So yeah, thanks for joining us. So the door we're going to be looking at today is an 1100 series Stergis Platinum patio door. Now you've probably seen these in a few different configurations. This one is just a simple fixed operable light. That means we have a fixed panel and your walk-through panel. Now they make these in 3, 4 lights. We make these as quads with a center parting door, but just for simplicity's sake, we're taking a look at the most basic configuration. We call it the XO patio door. So we make these in a multitude of different colors. At Stergis, we do custom colors, but we stock white, black, and sandstone. All of the hardware on this door is coastal rated, stainless steel, and we do a lot of work up and down the East Coast, so we want to make sure that the hardware that we do use is super robust and can last you decades. Now we have a suspended, simulated divided light set up on this door. We make everything custom. If you want grids between the glass or simulated divided lights on the outside, we have a hung style here. There are also a multitude of different glass types you can get in this door. Right now we have Energy Star rated low E glass. We also do laminate security glass, hurricane impact storm gate glass, and STC rated sound deadening glass. The operation of the door is super simple. You have a lock on the inside of the door, which you disengage, and then it can open freely. Now that we've taken a look at the door and some of its features, I want to talk a little bit about basic maintenance. Now, the most important one I want to cover and we'll do right away, and that is adjusting a door leaf that might be off square. If you take a look at this door, you may not have noticed it, but if I close this almost completely, you can see that there's an uneven gap between the door and the frame. Now, that's going to be a problem. You're not going to get a proper seal. It's not going to operate smoothly. It's going to look foolish. So we're going to take a look at how to adjust that so it's completely square, so your door is absolutely perfect. It's a lot simpler than it looks, so we're going to have to take a closer look at the bottom corner of this door and adjust the roller. Now sometimes maintaining your door, especially when you first install it, you might need to adjust these rollers a little higher, a little lower, just to make sure that door leaf is completely square, because the more square it is, the better seal it's going to have, and the better it's going to operate. Now, adjusting them is very simple. On the end of these stainless steel rollers, you're going to have an adjustment screw. Now, by turning that adjustment screw, you're going to raise and lower these wheels, and that will adjust your door leaf on the left and right side until you're completely square. So now we're going to take a look at that roller inside this door. If I slide this closed, this is a pretty extreme example of a door that's off square. You see down here, I have about 1.5 fingers of width, and up here, it gets really, really narrow. I'm going to need to bring this end of this hatch up. So I'm going to adjust that roller to raise this door leaf until we're square, and we have the same gap along this entire height. So I'm going to open this guy up, and right in here is an access port for that adjustment screw. I'm going to take a long number 3 Phillips head screwdriver. I'm just going to stick it in there until I find that Phillips port. I got it. And I'm rotating this clockwise. Clockwise will bring it up, counterclockwise, we'll bring it down. That's at least the stainless steel rollers that we use follow that logic. So this is going to take a little bit of trial and error. So I'm going to roll this a few times, right about there. And I'm going to close this door and see how much closer it is. Okay, so it's a little bit better. I've got a little less than a finger width here, but it's not square. So we're going to keep going. We bring that Phillips head back in there. Find that hole. I'm going to give it a few extra turns. Now again, you want to check it, every so often, just to make sure you're square. Let's see how that is. Bring that shut. We're almost there, right? You can barely see a difference. I'm right here. I'm on this side of the camera. You can kind of see it. I'm just going to give that a few more turns, and we will be perfect. Thinking one more rotation. And that's pretty perfect. We got just a little stream of daylight. So now I can close that door. We're perfectly square. So let's say over time your patio door handle set has broken or corroded, or you just plain don't like the color. I'm going to show you how to swap out the handle as well as the keeper that it grabs onto. Super simple. All you're going to need is a pencil and a Phillips head drill. So the first thing you're going to want to do is on the inside of the door, you want to notice these two Phillips head screws that hold the entire apparatus on. You're going to take your drill and you're just going to back those out just like this. Now, there are nuts on the other end of this patio door handle you might need to hold on to, otherwise it might get caught spinning. So I'm just going to take my hand, hold the other side of that screw, and back it out. Now, these guys are ready to come out. I grab both sides, and they just come apart. Super easy. Once those handles are gone, we're going to take out this metal hardware set in here. This has this only has 2 screws holding it on, at the top and at the bottom. So I'm going to take my Phillips head screw driver and back these guys out. Now those bite onto a lot of material in there. So they are deep, they go in far. So hold on, obviously it goes without saying, keep any screws that you take out. And this set should slide right out with just a little bit of persuasion. And there you go. So now that we've taken this hardware off, we're going to put a new set of hardware back on. Now it goes on just as easily as it comes off. If you need any hardware for Stergis windows or doors, whether it's a patio door handle set or a stainless steel roller, we sell all of this stuff on our website at stergis.com through our eBay store. Replacing this lock set, super easy. We're just going to do the reverse of how we took it out. So you take your internals and you want to slide it into that cavity. It might take a little bit of finagling, but it should pop right in. And then you take your screws, and I recommend using a low torque setting on your drill. I'm using an impact. Don't do what I do. Slowly bring that in. And then your top screw. Sweet. It's biting into the aluminum of the door. And once it's set in the cavity, you just follow those screw holes. They are self-tapping. Replacing the handles, again, super easy. You're going to have one handle that has no lock, and this handle that has a lock. The one with the lock goes on the inside. I'm going to take the outside handle with these nuts and place them just in the holes on the outside. Make sure it's facing the right direction. I'm just going to hold that in place while I take the other handle with the screws and do the same thing, but on this end. So I fit those screws in the hole, hold it in place. And I recommend taking your hand and just seeing if you can grab onto the nut on the other end. You should feel the purchase. When you do, you know you're good. And then you take your Phillips head and we want to drive these in. Again, do not over torque these. A little bit goes a long way. There you go. Just enough to bite. Now your handle set's on. All right, so now that we have our lock on our door, we need the keeper on the frame that it's going to bite onto. And there's a trick to doing this, and that's what our pencil's for. So, you see in the locking mechanism where we have these two holes, that's where the hooks come out that are going to grab onto the keeper. Now we want to take a note of where those holes begin and end. So I'm going to take my pencil. I'm just going to look here and make a little mark on the side of the door where those holes begin and end. There we go. So it's visible from this side. And once I've made those marks, I'm going to close the door and line them up over here. Remember how I said everything is downstream of squaring the door? And this is why. When I close this door, almost close it, I just want to transfer where those marks land onto the frame. Now when I open the door back up, I put the keeper right where those land. So in the case of this door, I know I'm good. So I like where these marks land on my keeper, so I don't need to make any adjustments. This one locks just fine. If your marks are a little bit high or a little bit low, you're going to have to adjust it. And by backing off these 4 screws on the keeper, you get a little bit of play up and down. But if that play is larger than your margin of error, then you're going to have to move the keeper in its entirety. Now, I'm replacing a handle set right now, so my keeper already exists. But if this is a new construction door, or it's the first handle set you're putting on, you're going to have to use those marks to align your keeper and then sink those screws. So installing a screen door, super easy. We're going to go through it right now. Just before we do, there are a couple of components I want to go over first. So this is your screen door. It has 4 rollers, 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top. And much like the door leaf, those can be adjusted with Phillips head screws on the sides. So these rollers actually have a spring to them on the top and on the bottom. There's kind of a bounciness to the screen. When you load this in, you're going to want to load it from the top first, push it up, and then lock those bottom wheels in. So keep that in mind. I'll show you how. So I find the top track here. I want to line my wheels up, and then spring those wheels in. And then I come to the bottom, where I have to manually push that wheel up and onto the track. You do one side, and then you do the other. So with the screen door installed, now we're going to take a look at adjusting it and making sure it's square. Like I mentioned, like with the door, we have adjustments on all 4 corners. But when I take this door and I close it, you can see we have a bigger gap on the bottom than we do on the top. So that means that this corner is going to have to come up. If I pull this out, I have an adjustment screw right along the bottom of the frame. I'm going to take my Phillips head screwdriver, and I'm going to drive that in. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Those are the ins and outs of your vinyl patio door. You guys are experts. If you made it this far, you know everything there is to know about patio doors. If there's anything in this video that you have questions about that you didn't see, be sure to leave a comment down below for us. We'll take a look at it, steer you in the right direction, and give you some advice. Any other information that you have on our products, be sure to visit us at stergis.com. And if you want to reach out with questions, comments, or concerns, all of our contact information is there. Thank you so much.